I was listening to this podcast recently, actually just like a day ago. I found this little section towards the very end of this podcast that was extremely insightful, and I had so many more of my own thoughts in regards to especially like indie filmmakers. So if you're an indie filmmaker, this applies to everybody, but if you're an indie filmmaker, I'm really going to be filtering their conversation through this. And the podcast is Brilliant Idiots with Andrew Schulz and Charlamagne the God. If you guys don't know who they are, I don't know how you don't know, but Charlamagne the God is like the main guy on The Breakfast Club. It's like the most popular radio shows probably in the world, definitely in the country. And then you got Andrew Schulz, who's a stand-up comedian. He's popping right now online. He just came out with a new Netflix special. And the Netflix special was pretty good. And in this clip, Charlamagne pulls out his phone and says, "Hey, I want you to listen to this quote from Anthony Mackie, the guy who's playing Captain America." And he has a take on success in today's culture, success around hard work. And they contend with this idea and give their own thoughts, but I have a lot of my own thoughts.
Made me think of this clip when you said what you said.
Cool, and then I gotta run.
All right, this is Anthony Mackie.
I've been in the business 24 years, right? And I've seen people go from nothing to the biggest stars in the world. I've seen people go from one role to winning Academy Awards and doing all this shit. And what I realized yesterday thinking about it, we're lying to our kids, dog. And I think that's a big problem in our community. We tell our kids that and this is fresh on my heart. Like I literally just came to this conclusion last night. We tell our kids if they do right and they make the good grades and they go to the programs and they will become successful. If you work hard enough, your work will be paid off.
That's common. How many of us have heard that? Especially for like indie filmmakers who are just like, they have a dream. They have a vision of who they want to be, right? They have a dream and an idea of the type of like world-class filmmaker they would love to achieve. No idea how to get there. No idea if they'll be able to become good enough to be able to do it, but they believe that if they work hard enough, they can. They absolutely can.
And that's not true. Success is given. It's not earned. Because you can be the most brilliant. If one person don't tap you, each one of y'all. There were people who could hit harder, who could catch better, who could run faster. But somebody said, you're the one. And the other 50 behind you fell off. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And because of that, I don't know what that emotion or that feeling is the scary thing. Because I went to all the programs. I've done Broadway. I've done off-Broadway. I've been in the business 24 years. I've been in 2 Academy Award films. I've done independent films. I've done major motion pictures. Now I'm Captain America. So now what?
They're going to share their thoughts and I'm going to listen to what they have to say. And honestly, like, especially I respect both of their thoughts and whatnot here, but I kind of come to a different conclusion than they do. Right off the bat, what Anthony Mackie's saying is true. It's also very much not true. And I'll explain that as we go on, but let's listen to see what Andrew Schulz and Charlamagne have to say.
I think that sentiment makes a lot of people who are struggling feel good. It's like an opiate. You know, it like satisfies the pain. And I think a lot of people will be like, yes, queen, talk that, etc.
That was a man. It's Anthony Mackie.
But the reality is that I don't know if that's the right, I don't know if that's the right attitude to give people the hope to work their ass off and hopefully succeed. Working your ass off doesn't guarantee you anything. Like we said earlier, we got lucky, dude. But
he said, working your butt off doesn't guarantee you anything. It does guarantee a few things. It can guarantee income. It can guarantee relative financial stability and family stability, like family provision stability. But what he's talking about is through the lens of success, as far as reaching to be world class, to achieve greatness in some craft. And I always tend to think about this through the lens of filmmaking and people who want to become filmmakers. I have like a lot of personal ambitions and personal like thought processes that I struggle with back and forth. And I know that other filmmakers, I can see it in them, especially on YouTube. I know there are other filmmakers and other creatives in the production world that feel the exact same way. They have this idea that they want to reach and they just don't know if they can. And when they hear people talk about this, they say that work doesn't guarantee them anything, that success is given. That is absolutely like just water on the flame. Just water on the flame of like what hope they have, because a lot of people are coming into this with not being able to provide anything to the situation except hard work. Like that, if you're talking about the equation of trying to make it, right, for the betterment of yourself or higher ambitions like your family and your children, the only thing you're bringing to the equation a lot of times is your hard work, because you don't come from anything. You don't have anybody in your family in the line of work that you dream to be doing at a high level. Sometimes the only thing you have to offer is your drive and your hard work. Like that's literally it.
I do know is working your ass off will increase the chances that somebody might tap you and want to work with you and want to give the opportunity. And I wish that he included that in there, because there is nothing that will guarantee you will have no success like not doing anything.
Yeah, it's not an either or.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
success is earned and success is given, because you can have a talent and you work hard and you bust your ass because you're constantly putting yourself in a position so that person who can give you an opportunity recognizes the hard work and your talent.
I want to work with hard workers.
And I've been given a million opportunities from a million different people throughout my whole life. Like somebody had to give me the opportunity to be an intern back in the day.
But now you give opportunities, and who do you give them to? You don't give them to the people going, you can't do it unless somebody puts me on. Yeah, I don't think he's wrong that like getting an opportunity can change everything, but working hard will put you in a position to get opportunities. Like that Chris Rock joke where he's like, I never stopped when I saw somebody who was pulled over on the side of the road and their car wasn't working. But the second you see someone pushing their own car, you stop and you want to push that car with them. Be the person pushing their own car, and people will notice. They will I mean, look at us talking about Ryan Davis.
Yeah.
My man put his own money up. He's absolutely hilarious. Right. And people will recognize that. And then obviously, we want to support, somebody that we really think is great at the thing, but you got to work hard to be great at the thing.
I love that analogy that Andrew finished with. Like, no one's going to stop to come and help you push your car if you're not pushing it yourself. But if they see you pushing your car and working hard, they're way more inclined to get out and be like, oh, I got to help this guy because he's trying to do it all by himself, but he's really giving it a go. The only thing I would add to this, like this generic idea of working hard, right? Getting more specific. Getting into the idea of working hard to make it in production. I'm going to be honest. I haven't made it in production. I've made a handful of films. I've traveled around the US on production sets, right? I've done so much work. I've done countless editing projects. I've bet if I don't have my 10,000 hours, I'm about to, you know what I mean? Like I'm really close. I mean, I have over a decade of doing this on a professional level, being employed to do this type of work. And I am still considered as like not even registering, just in my little pockets. So I think the really important thing for filmmakers is to first define what success is. If you say that I need to be the next Chris Nolan, you probably won't. Honestly, you probably won't. There's a lot of competition. I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying that when you reach the skill level of Christopher Nolan, there's probably not going to be people that recognize you to be as great as Christopher Nolan. You're going to be different. You're going to be your own thing, which is fine. But if your idea is that I want to be like Chris Nolan, then you're going to be shooting for something that's inauthentic to yourself. So you have to work hard, but you have to get clear on what success means to you, that it's authentically coming from your creative expression and not just kind of like trying to follow a format that you see someone else who's successful doing. So that's like a very important factor. And I think 100% I'm on board with what Andrew said. If you are not out pushing your car, if you're not out there doing the work and working hard, then you can guarantee you're not going to earn success. But for filmmakers, the competition is so heavy and it's so dense and it's so like political, right? When it comes to getting on sets, when it comes to having opportunities, unless you're just going to be solo, which I wouldn't recommend unless you're trying to do like a YouTube filmmaking thing that's like very small scale. And if that's your dream, that's totally cool. But if you want to be on like high-end productions, you have to get yourself on high-end productions, and there's no right way to do it. There really isn't. Steven Spielberg, back in his day when he was young, he couldn't do school. Like he couldn't stand it. So what he did is he like snuck his way onto, I think it was Universal or Paramount, one of the two, their studio, and just talked to people and happened to be able to get on set just to be in the atmosphere. You need to be in the mix. Like you need to be out there making connections with people. You have to be out there talking to people. You have to be getting the word out that I work on films. Like the hardest part to production and making it for yourself as a creative production individual or a filmmaker is going to be getting people to recognize that you make films. Just getting the word out. That's hard to do. That's a big part of the battle. That's the beginning of the battle, and it's probably the hardest part of the battle. Learning how to make incredible stories, like that truly can come with trial and error. Like that does actually happen if you do put the work in and you do study and you work hard. On the same level, if you don't know people and people don't know that you make films and you're not building a reputation in the world around the idea of being a filmmaker, then you're going to be looked over. Like people aren't going to take you seriously. And you're probably going to miss out on opportunities that are the key to transforming what your dream future would actually be. So what's the takeaway to all of this? Success in some ways is given, but it's because you put the hard work in to get to know the people who are going to help you achieve it. Hard work has to be defined, and your success, what you believe to be success, also has to be defined for yourself as well. And that is going to come in all types of shapes and sizes. It's a huge spectrum of varieties when it comes to success in filmmaking. I hope this was insightful for you. Definitely meditate on what I've said. If you're a filmmaker or you're just an aspiring creative in your field and something I've said resonated with you, let me know in the comments. I'd love to discuss it with you. That'd be awesome to talk with you down there. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you next time.